So in the beginning, we are beginner, and we have unconsciousness, we have suffering, we have separation. We still have some hope. We have some idea that there's something else possible here, and probably getting tired of all this pain, and we're looking for something different. Then you discover that there's a movie in the mind, whether you do it because you've come here, because you've done it on your own, and a lot of people I know have done it on their own, and this just happened to me on my own, as I realized that there was something going on that wasn't going on, and that was causing my pain. And you start to see the movie. And when you start to see the movies, you can start to have some breakthroughs and some happiness. But there's a lot of efforting here, because you're sometimes deeply unconscious and sometimes not so deeply unconscious. And what does it mean to be deeply unconscious? It means to be completely involved in the movie, to be contracted. As someone said earlier, it feels like ego is a contraction. It's part of it. But you're contracted so intensely on the movie, you don't see the reality. Like, to you, there isn't a reality other than the movie. The movie is your reality. So that is the beginner stage, and the reality level. Those are the longest stages, at least in my experience. And these are stages, meaning these are symptoms. These are the symptoms that you'll be experiencing. And sometimes you'll be experiencing symptoms from, 3 or 4 stages away, or you'll flip back and forth sometimes. But primarily, you kind of tend to stay in one stage more than the other. And there's reasons, and there's things that you need in order to move on to the next stage. Okay. We'll be talking about those in the future too. So then you have autopilot, where things start to happen sort of effortlessly, and you go, well, it's like I wasn't there. It's the first beginnings to see that this I is unreal. It's never there, actually, but you're starting to see that life goes on with or without this idea of you. Judgments start to disappear, and you have uncaused happiness out of the blue, just like, and it's quite shocking, isn't it, Cindy? Yeah, that you suddenly, oh, I'm happy for no reason. What does that mean? That says a lot. It means we're so used to having something or a person make us happy, because we've been seeking something or person or event to make us happy. But now we've noticed that it has arisen, and gee, I didn't have anything to do with it. I didn't get something or person or event, and something didn't happen to make it happen. It's like, oh. So then you can get into falling in love with love, which is what happened to me. I realized that I can have this love, this joy, this bliss. I don't need a person, a thing, or an event, and I can indulge in it anytime I want. And so you can have extreme states of bliss and rapture, and you're completely self-fulfilled. When that happens, you lose interest in the world. Meaning other than me. You lose interest in trying to get something from the world or stop something. You may stop doing a lot of things you used to do. You may go within, okay? And then you might come to the stage of equanimity. You start to withdraw into stillness. Worldly desires, you function, no problem. You can tell jokes. Don't worry, Chris. But there's this deep peace. You can function just fine because there is no need, there is no desire, there is no avoidance. Right? You could call it a kind of flow. And then everything is fine, but there's still something missing. What happened to me? There's still something missing. And then you become single-minded. You want the truth. You become a truth lover. Your single desire in life is liberation. And this can lead to humility and surrender and intensive concentration on inquiry. Intensive, sustained concentration on inquiry, on your identity, is what can break through the veil. Now, the reason the self-realized is in the middle is because you can access it actually from anywhere here. You don't have to get to number 6. It's possible, although it's very uncommon to realize from beginner where you're in pain and suffering. And that's what pretty much happened to Eckhart Tolle and Byron Katie. Okay. And it's also dangerous to try and do it there. More people result in suicide than enlightenment or self-realization from that stage. So, and self-realized, you realize there is only the subject. So the illusion of self and other vanishes. It's the final death of the ego. You will laugh ridiculously. You won't be able to speak it. It's so direct, it's so immediate, it's so absolute, it is not of the mind. So all problems, questions, and seeking stop, because all of that is of the mind. You realize all is the self. The fear of death disappears, and unimaginable joy of being and love for existence. Every little iota of existence ensues. So why did I create this? Because I hear a lot of people talking about, oh, I had my awakening and I lost it. I'm like, no, you didn't. You can have anywhere on this path insights into the truth. And when they happen, you will have an experience that might be blissful, that might be deeply peaceful. It just means you're having a symptom from one of the other categories. It doesn't mean you're self-realized. Self-realized is the end of subject-object, self and other. You realize all to be yourself. And if that hasn't happened, that's not it. Everything else is fine, but what usually ends up happening, you have an experience that you call an awakening, because it is shocking to you. It's unlike anything you've ever experienced. You don't know what to do with it, so you say, I'm awakened. You're not. You've just had an insight. You've had a sneak preview, shall we say. And the danger there is identity and I and ego grabs that. And that is a huge thing you don't want to let go. Right? We're always trying to improve ourselves and make ourselves better. Well, isn't the ultimate to the ego to be enlightened, to be realized? And so this is a very dangerous trap. And there are traps along the way. We'll talk more about the traps later on that will keep you stuck for a very long time. Very, very long time. And so what's needed to go from beginner to reality lover to autopilot to love lover to equanimity to truth lover? We'll be talking about those two. So beginner and reality lover can be the longest, because you need to have direct realizations. You need to have an understanding of what's going on in each of those in order to move on from the other. Autopilot can be fairly short. For me, love lover was 9 months. Okay, but it was intensive. And the more intensive you are in any of these stages, the more quickly you'll move on. So the more intense and the more earnest you are, wherever you are, the more quickly you'll move out of it. Equanimity was very short for me. And equanimity and truth lover actually overlapped quite a lot, because it's only from equanimity and the stillness that you can get such high concentration that you can realize the truth.